everyone, notes 3.12 are on adjusting the rate of change and the initial value. So in our first example, it tells us that Lena joins a local gym. The graph shown represents the cost C to belong to the gym, and we should say here after n months, we need to add that on. So we need to write an equation to represent the graph, and whenever we write an equation, there are two things that we need to know. We need to know the rate of change as well as the initial value. And we'll get that information from the graph. Let's find the initial value because that's easy. So the initial value in our graph just tells us how much we're going to pay when x equals 0. So here, if I go for 0 months, I can see that I would be paying, this is 200 up here, and so this is half of 200, so this is 100. And then this means that each one of these bars right here is 50. So each block is worth 50, just as a heads up. So we know our initial value is $100. Now we need to find our rate of change. And to find our rate of change, we need to do rise over run. So if I were to start here, I have a point here, and then I want to choose any other point to find the rise and the run. So I'm just going to choose this point right here. So I can see here my rise went from 100 to 200. So my rise went up by 100. This is my rise. It's $100. And I know it's dollars because it's cost. I need to find my run. Now be careful. Don't tell me that the rise is 2 because it's 2 blocks. Yes, it is 2 blocks, but each block is worth 50, so it's $100. Now I need to find my run. And my run went from 0 months to 4 months. So that means that it increased by 4 months. How do I figure that out? Just do 4 minus 0. So here my run is 4 months. So this is telling me that I'm going to be paying $25 per month because 100 divided by 4 is 25. So this right here means that my equation is going to be C equals 25M plus 100. Now, in the next part, it says that Kostas joined a different gym. And this time in this gym, the initial fee is $50 more, but the cost per month is $5 less. And now we want to write an equation for Kostas. So we know that the initial value was originally 100 and that the rate of change is $25 per month. And to find this equation right here, we need to do the same thing. We want to find the initial value and the rate of change. Well, the initial value is $50 more. So that means that we're going to take this 100 that we have here and then add $50 onto that. So the new initial value is $150. And then for the rate of change, it tells us that the cost per month is $5 less. So I want to take this $25 per month and I want to subtract 5 from that. And when I do that, I get $20 per month. So now we know our rate of change as well as our initial value, so we can write our equation. So here we can say that C is equal to $20 per month plus an initial $150. And that's how we adjust our rate of change and our initial values. Okay? All right, in our next example, it says to throw a party at a banquet hall, you have to pay an initial rental fee plus a cost per guest. So we know that if 15 people attend, you pay $625. And we also know that if 21 people attend, then we would pay $835. But in the country club next door, they charge $4 less per guest and $30 more for the initial rental fee. So we want to find the country club's cost per guest and the initial rental fee. But the thing is in order to find the country club, we have to know the banquet hall first. And we do not know the banquet hall's information. So we have to start by doing that. So the first thing I want to do is find the rate of change. So I'm going to make a table of values with the information that's given to me. So we have G for the number of guests and C for the cost. So we know that 15 guests will cost $625. And we also know that 21 guests will cost $835. So to find our rate of change here, we have to do the rise over the run. So to find the rise, I need to figure out how much this changes by. So our rise would be equal to $835 minus 625. And when I subtract those two numbers, I get 210. So my rise here is $210. But now I also need to find the run. And this right here is going to be our run. And our run is 21 minus 15 people. So that's 6 people. So our run right here is 6 people. So when I divide 210 by 6, I end up getting $35 per person or per guest. So we know our rate of change. Now we need to find our initial value. And this is still for the banquet hall, right? So our initial value for the banquet hall, if we know that we are paying $35 per guest and we know that 15 people attended, when we multiply those values, we know that we have to pay $525 without the initial fee or without the initial value, okay? With the initial value, we know that we have to pay $625. So we have to subtract those two values, and now we know our initial value is $100. And just a quick note, I could have also used the 21 and the 835. So instead I could have done 35 times 21, which is 735 without the initial value. And then I would take this 835 and subtract this 735, and I would still get $100 for my initial value, okay? Now we have to find our information for our country club. And for the country club, we know that the rate of change is $4 less per guest. So I would take the 35 that we originally got, subtract 4 from that, and we know it's $31 per guest. And we know that the initial value is $30 more for the initial rental fee. So I would take this $100, add 30 to it, and I would get $130. So now we know that cost per guest is equal to $31, right? That's the answer to the first question. And that the initial value is equal to $130. And we need to write an equation for each option where C represents the cost and G represents the number of guests. So let's write one for the banquet hall first. Since the banquet hall is charging $35 per guest plus an initial $100 fee, our equation would say equals 35 per guest plus $100. And for the country club, since we know that the cost is $31 per guest and it's a $130 initial fee, then we know that for the country club, our equation would be C equals 31G plus 130. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in class. Bye.